one. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. My name is Kenny, and I go by KCCO Gamer, and all the way from Thunder Bluff, Louisiana, we have Cinder. Cinder, how are you?
I'm pretty great. I have Doggo. I actually have the soundboard operational this week. I think I'm on a roll.
All right. Glad to have Doggo on the show as a temp fill for Appa.
Yep.
So Appa's not here. He's on vacation. But we do have all the way from Orgrimmar, Illinois, we have Cora. Cora, how are you?
I've been really good, Kenny. It's been a good week so far. I'm getting excited for the holidays. It seems like it sort of snuck up on me again this year. I for most of the day had no idea that today was the 21st, so that was kind of scary. But yeah, it's been a good week.
Yeah, you're pretty festive right there. I like the
Thank
posters
you.
you have up there.
I love the posters and the little Christmas lights. Just make it. It's a nice place to be. I enjoy my little stream setup.
No spiders or anything.
No, not that I've seen. I think I put the fear of God into them, and they've stayed away from me, or at least the fear of my shoes.
All right. So, you're excited about Hearthstone. What have you been playing on ladder?
Oh God, pretty much everything. It has been I've been streaming 5 days a week now for the last 2 weeks or so. So I've been playing a lot of ladder. It's been a lot of grinding, and we made it to rank 1, 5 stars 3 times yesterday. I faced the final boss 3 times. I lost every time. And then I went back down to rank 3. And then I streamed today, got back up to rank 2, and then I actually just got back up to rank 1 off stream. So I'm going to be pushing for Legend again tomorrow, but I've been playing Pirate Dragon Warrior, Aggro Rogue, Aggro Shaman, Midrange Shaman, Jade Druid, Ramp OTK Druid. What else? There's got to be more stuff. Oh, Reno Warlock. A lot of Reno Warlock. I got really close to Legend with Reno Warlock. Yeah, it's
do you find that
been
when
a
you
hell of a
stream,
month.
though, you get a little bit sick of playing the same thing over and over again, and that's why you played so many different decks?
I get very impatient, and if a deck is not working out, I'm like, clearly this deck isn't what we need. We need to find the right deck. Whereas if I just had a larger sample size, it probably would be working a lot better. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot more. Oh, I have Dragon Priest too, and Reno Priest, and Reno Dragon Priest. I obviously there's still new cards, there's new decks. I want to try out everything still. So I've just been trying to skip around as much as possible while still playing decks that have high win rates to get to Legend this month. Usually I get there on like the last day of the month, so we're ahead of schedule by about 9 days. So we're doing okay.
I feel like Cora just went down the meta list and just checked off every box.
Yeah, checked
Let's
out the
play that
Tempo
one.
Storm meta
Let's play
snapshot.
this
Was
one.
like, all right, tier 1. All right, now tier 2, tier 3 gets a little murky, and we don't want to go near tier 4. But
Nope. No pun intended.
Formerly known as Shaman tier, but that no more.
no more. Oh God, not even close.
What about you, Cinder? You've been playing
yeah,
quite a bit now.
Been chipping away with Miracle Rogue. I did really well with it last week and the beginning of this week, and then it kind of hit a bit of a wall at rank 6. So I fell back and then tried a few things. I even tried Secret Paladin again, if you can believe it, but didn't really work out too well. But yeah, I went ahead and tried out Reno Mage to counter the absolute wave of Pirate Warriors that I've been seeing around rank 6, 7. And man, that is the magic bullet for Pirate Warrior. They hate Reno Mage. Ice Block plus Reno plus every large card Mage has. It's kind of tilting, I think, for them.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit of everything, but yeah, I think I hit a wall and I was just like not winning any games. So
Mm,
I went
It's the
from
worst.
like 8 down to 11, just losing.
that's rough.
But as I mentioned in Discord, I just keep losing. But then again, here and there, I'm playing mobile. I'm doing things you're playing games here at work sometimes, or doing things.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
they they made a good point. It is a little distracting, or if I'm just on my computer and have everything set up and just focus, I tend to do a little bit better. So I sat down with Miracle Rogue and got uh, back up to 9. So I feel like if I actually put in some games, I'll start doing some better win rates. So I'm excited to play Rogue because I haven't played too much of it. I think I caught up to my priest wins with it now, so I'm over 100 wins now.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I think I need about 110 wins to get Golden Rogue. That's my last class. So eventually I'm just going to have to sit down for like a week and grind those games out. But man, Rogue is not my favorite.
I've really taken a liking to it the last week or so. Like it's for the first week or so that I was playing with it, it was just kicking butt. But yeah, it is also a hard deck to play. So I
Mm.
mean, if you get even a mildly weak draw, I've been having the worst hands. Like I had to screenshot Appa and show it to him all the way in Costa Rica. I'm like, man, look at this. There's literally 10 cards in my hand, and they're all spells. It's like prep, coin, backstab, cold blood. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? There's got 99 cards, and an auctioneer ain't one.
Yeah,
By
you
patches
tend to
is
get a game-
97 of them.
You tend to get a game
Patches.
here and there that may be like that. I had just a handful of my minions, and it was just like, okay, I can't really get anything done
Mhm.
with my auctioneer. But I saw a couple of your games. You're playing with some of the 3 drops. I don't have the combo 3 drops. I just have the questing adventures, tomb pillagers, azure drakes, auctioneer, Van
Yeah,
Cleef,
so
obviously.
I traded out the adventurer for, or is it questing adventurer? Is that what it's called?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I traded out the questing for the pirate package with the small time buck, the swashbucklers, and patches
Yeah.
in order
I
to
have that.
basically to counteract the pirate aggression from the other decks. That way, you just get a clean trade with patches and the dagger. You maybe keep the small time buck on the board, and then you can transition into the mid game with tomb pillagers, and then just power up a gadget's in turn and win. But it doesn't always work that way, of course.
Do you just have questings over SIs, Kenny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I like the
yeah,
SI.
I like the questing because it can bring the early game real quick, especially against druids and other things. Once you can kind of get out of range of the AoE for shaman and other decks like that, you can kind of work your way your questing adventures out early. I have the pirates in there too, so I have the small time buccaneers, the burglars. I find that curves out really well because I'll throw out a swashbuckler or a small time buccaneer, and then patches will come out, and then turn 2, especially with the small time buccaneer, you'll equip your weapon on 2, and then you just hit them, so they're already down 5 5 health points on turn 2, and then it curves into 3. You can play, usually you'll have like a swashbuckler or something else to play, and then just hero up. Turn 4 you play the tomb pillagers, and you'll get a coin here and there. So if you coin out azure drake or coin out tomb pillager, you're getting something on the board, but either getting card draw or you'll get the coin if they remove it. So
Yeah.
it kind of cycles a little bit easy. I find it's a good curve. I'm not looking forward to tomb pillager leaving. So
It's a really
I'm
good card.
It's very
yeah.
strong.
I'm trying to get my rogue games in while I can. So, and, yeah, I was watching Timmy play for like, he went from mid legend to like rank 6, I believe it was, in legend.
Wow.
With that deck, yeah.
Yeah, I think
So-
Ray C was playing a deck very similar to that. He hit rank 3 legend on Europe with just like a basic questing rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very strong right now. Really good against Reno.
Yeah.
Very, very good against Reno.
So I've been doing pretty good with it, and it's been working. So I think I'll play some more of it. I got like a rough patch there for a little bit, but yeah. So that's what we've been playing. Welcome those who joined us in Twitch chat, and definitely check out the Discord tonight. Tonight, because we'll be joining some callers later. I'll link the Discord in our chat and everything too. So let's go ahead and attack the news here. But first, I do want to mention that we are supported in a large part by our listeners, especially those that have gone and monetarily supported us at our Patreon page, patreon.com/CoinConcede. Go check out our rewards, see what you can get, and support us if you like the show. So, Cindy, you ready for the news? I feel like that's a very fitting song going into the first item here. So Vicious Syndicate released the Data Reaper number 9 report, or 29. 29. And so that's been the first one since Mean Streets is released, and it's a nice little insight on what's kind of been playing here since the release. I'll go ahead and link it in chat here and everything too. You guys want to mention anything about it that stuck out to you?
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me is that the volume of games they're recording has gone way up since the last time. So that means a lot more people are contributing, the sample size is bigger, and the data is cleaner. So we get an even more accurate report now, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a chance to check it out, Cora?
I did. And it's basically my letter experience for the last 2 weeks. So they're certainly doing a good job. Get these numbers. 16.62% of the games were Pirate Warrior. 10.23% Aggro Shaman with like 4% Jade thrown in, so about 14% total were Shaman. About 14% Reno Warlock, 10% Jade Druid, and then about 10% Priest as well, with Rogue following shortly behind at around 8. So these 6 classes, Warrior, Shaman, Warlock, Druid, Priest, and Rogue, are absolutely dominant right now. But that is actually probably the healthiest meta we've had in a very long time. That you have 6 classes that are almost exactly evenly distributed. I think Pirate Warriors maybe 2% higher, and Priest and Rogue are a little bit lower. But to have 3 classes almost exactly the same as far as distribution is kind of absurd, because mid-range Shaman was like 40% of games for a month.
It was really bad, yeah.
So even though a lot of these decks have a lot of the same cards in them, you're seeing the Pirate package on turn 1 in 3 classes right now in Warrior, Shaman, and Rogue. They're all very diverse, so you're getting smorked in many different ways right now. And then sometimes you're playing Reno, so it's actually pretty cool. It's a cool meta.
Yeah, there is enough control to counter the aggro, and you don't see any one particular archetype that has a clear advantage like mid-range Shaman did, where it could just do everything. Each class does have a weak matchup, and the meta continues to rotate to exploit those.
Yeah, you could feel it actually change. The only thing that feels bad is when you finally play against a Hunter and then you lose to it.
Oh, poor Hunter, man.
That's
Jeez.
Hunter being the bottom there, and then
Look,
Paladin.
I tried. I really tried to make a Goons Hunter thing work. It doesn't. It just doesn't.
Hunter.
Sometimes it's not with this meta, but it's a fun deck to play here and there.
It's a very fair class right now, right? And it
doesn't
doesn't seem like the fair classes and the fair decks are really working. You need something that's either very fast or it can heal you up for 30 and give you Kazaka spells. Like nothing that's just like, oh hey, my 1/1 minion is a 3/3 on turn 2. That's pretty strong. It's like, no, it's not strong, because I got 4 minions on board by turn 2 and you're dead by turn 6.
Yeah.
Poor
You
Hunter.
tend to. You only have the cards in your deck or in your hand too that self buff, and that limits. So if it did something to the whole deck, that'd be way overpowered. But it kind of limits to what you have in your hand. So small time. Was it small time recruits?
Yeah, the 3/1/1s for Paladin.
Yeah.
Not as good as
That
small
helps,
time
but it's not
Buccaneer.
Yeah.
A 1 mana
definitely
3/2.
So good.
Go check it out. I linked it in the chat here, and see what you're up against. So thank you for those guys at Vicious Games, and just a shout out to them too. A lot of the people that do these class reports and stuff are like high legend. I think there were 3 in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Hot Meowth made it all the way to BlizzCon too. So.
He did.
Yeah. Yep. So I think I'm playing Hot Meowth. Yeah, he had someone that he retweeted that was playing his deck. So that's the rogue that I'm playing, his deck. So yeah, next thing is we do have an announcement. If you're very interested in casting, like Cora did, Hearthstone Esports is looking for some new casters. Cora, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so last year, around this very time, I entered into the So You Think You Can Cast Hearthstone casting search type deal. And it was there that myself, Sawdle, Raven, and D2 all started working for Blizzard doing HCT casting. So they are doing it once again. The So You Think You Can Cast Hearthstone Edition 2017 was officially put up on the 16th, so 5 days ago. It is a blog post on Battle.net, so you can go and check it out. And last year they were looking for solo cast. This year they're looking for duos. So if you have a friend or a family member or just a random person on the internet that you want to cast this game with that they've given you, they provide the pre-recorded video, so you can go check it out. You can, get your thoughts together, really figure out exactly how you want to present your casting, and then record yourselves casting the game. And then you tweet it to Blizzard, you record the video, upload it to YouTube, tweet them the link, make sure you have valid emails in your YouTube description. And then starting January 13th, they are going to be watching your videos, and then they will be contacting people to try and get work casting for the Hearthstone Collegiate National Championship part of the TESPA competitive series. So I actually casted a couple weeks of the TESPA Hearthstone Training Grounds, which was the collegiate circuit this past year. It was like 5 weeks ago, and then about a month or 2 months ago. And it was a great time. So the casters that they pick will be doing that next TESPA circuit instead of HCT this year. So yeah, I mean, it worked out for me. And I highly encourage anybody, if you have interest in casting, if you have a Hearthstone background or a broadcast background, or even if you just think, hey, this sounds like a lot of fun, I really want to try it, absolutely try it. It is a 5-minute long video. It won't take more than an hour of your time to practice, get it polished, upload this thing to YouTube, and send it in. It is a fantastic opportunity. It's something that I never thought that I would get picked from, and lo and behold, I did. And now I'm starting to try to build a career out of Hearthstone casting and streaming, and that's crazy. So, hey, you could be doing it too.
Yeah, I feel like even if you think you're not going to do any, it's those people that end up getting picked. That's like, oh, I'll never get it. Try hard. I'm not saying don't try. Try and do your best, and you never know what will happen. I mean, you'll get to possibly travel and experience things that normally you wouldn't be able to. How cool would that be to, you're talking with family, like, oh yeah, I was over in California last week, or it's a pretty neat experience. So anytime you get to travel, I would take the opportunity. But yeah, Cinder, you want to add anything? Are you going to be doing it?
No, I will not be doing it. I have way too much stage fright to be in front of a camera. I think I know, but if you think you can do it, do it. It literally costs you nothing, and you have nothing to lose by putting it out there for Blizzard to look at. Just listen, channel your inner Shia LaBeouf, and just do it.
Just do it.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
I'm helping my brother put in a video. You never know. Maybe we'll have the Georgiou brother-sister combo cast in it at TESPA this year. Who knows?
The dream team.
The dream team.
Well, I would be excited to see him more. I'm looking forward to seeing new faces too, though. I think it's cool that they're putting out more opportunities for that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all that there was for the news that we felt was worth mentioning. But yeah, let's talk about some of the tournament results here. Cinder, take it away.
It's the grand tournament. No, Groove, I do not want to rate this app right now. Go away. Thanks. Anyway, we had this past weekend the Hearthstone All-Stars 2016 semifinals and final. Most of these, the previous rounds were done offline or online rather. So people were remoting in from wherever they were. The semifinals and final were on site in Taiwan. I believe it was in Taiwan. I should probably double check that. But from the first semifinal round, we had Tom 60229 versus Sidonia. So Tom was, of course, from the previous weekend, was just absolutely on fire. He won the Southeast Asia Major in Taiwan, and he got this far in the All-Star Tournament. But Sidonia has also been doing really well. He had some really amazing match wins in the previous rounds of the All-Star Tournament. So he's been having a great run since his first appearance in North America Spring Championship. And in the match, Sidonia went up very, very quickly, 3-0 with a 1-2-3 of Reno Warlock, Aggro Shaman, and Pirate Warrior. But his fourth deck, an Aviana Druid. If you haven't seen this deck, it's kind of a mashup between Cthulhu and Malygos, and it uses Aviana and Kun the Forgotten King. So you jam down Aviana, you play Kun for 1, you get all your mana back, and then you just literally play every card in your hand for 1 mana. And if you get off the combo, it's crazy. But in 3 games, Sidonia could not find a win with this deck, and Tom ends up tying the series. Game 7 comes down to Tom failing to find healing with the Indifin Paladin. He queued up, and Sidonia didn't even get his combo off with Aviana. He had to just play a very typical ramp-style Cthulhu game and find a lethal combo from a Feral Rage and a Swipe drawn off of a Nourish. So Sidonia just barely takes that match 4-3. On the other side of the bracket, we had Jason Zhou versus Mattoon. Jason Zhou, of course, one of the finalists at BlizzCon 2016 from the Chinese region, and Mattoon, the Japanese phenom, returning to HCT with great showings in the previous rounds of the All-Star Tournament. In fact, I think he had a 4-0 at one point. He's been doing really well in this tournament. But in this match, Mattoon went down very, very quickly, 0-2, after some very bad hands with his Questing Rogue against Jason Zhou's Miracle Rogue and Aviana Druid. He managed to get his own win with the Aviana Druid, but Jason Zhou managed to close out the series with Dragon Priest and Reno Lock. Mattoon once again failing to find a win with his Questing Rogue in one of those games. So that I feel his pain. I've had some very bad losing streaks with Rogue this week, and I know how it just sometimes the hand just does not come together and you can't play any threats. So unfortunately, Mattoon is eliminated from the tournament. Jason Zhou advances 4-1. And in the final match, we have Jason Zhou versus Sidonia. Jason Zhou, very fresh in everyone's mind from BlizzCon. He really showed his dominance as maybe even being the best player in the entire Chinese region. And Sidonia, our friend of the show, our favorite guy. I know everybody was pulling for Sidonia here.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And Sidonia started just as he did in the semifinal round. He just came out of the gate running with Pirate Warrior, winning on the back of a South Sea Captain of all things. It's a 3-mana 3/3 that buffs all your pirates if you've never seen it before.
Rarely.
Very, very rarely. He managed to get a nice board of pirates, and South Sea Captain came down and buffed it all up, and he snuck out the win. Then he followed it up with another win with Aggro Shaman. They traded a couple of wins with their Miracle Rogues, and that gave us a 3-1 score with Sidonia, and the last deck for Sidonia was the Aviana Druid deck once again. And once again, Sidonia having the worst time trying to find a win with this Aviana deck. Jason Zhou beats the deck 3 times, reverses the series, wins the match 4-3, and Jason Zhou is our All-Star champion for 2016. Now, I talked to Sidonia after the match, and I asked him about the Aviana Druid. I said, was it bad luck, or was this a poor choice of lineup? He said in testing, he felt really good with it. He tested it against some other tournament lineups. It was doing well, and he just had really, really bad draws during the tournament. But almost 6 or 7 games in a row where you just do not find your combo pieces, that's pretty rough. Cora,
yeah.
I have not played this deck, but I have played the Aviana Kun Malygos OTK, and I will say that I do feel that one is stronger. You don't have to run the Cthulhu package. All you need is 2 Moonfires, and then you're obviously running double Living Roots, double Swipe in every Druid deck. And then you simply run extra removal and extra tech cards against aggro. So Acidic Swamp Ooze, Double Feral Rage, some more draw. And it is a lot easier to get this combo off reliably without dying before that. So you have room for Mulch against Flame Wreathed Faceless against an aggro shaman, and you have room for Lunar Visions if you want it, Gadgets on. So I really like the Malagos version over the Cthulhu version. But yeah, to lose that many times, even with the deck that I feel is just a little bit more situational, that's got to come down to draws at some point. Sidonia is a great player, and Jason Joe is too. Like, absolutely a fantastic final match between those guys. But yeah, going up 3-1 and then losing 3 in a row with that deck, that's rough.
Yeah, they both deserve to be there. At least well, I don't mean to make it sound this way, but at least they didn't play like a warrior deck straight out, or play that straight out and just lose all the games straight up without switching. But
yeah,
he had pretty much no choice. But yeah, it seems like it was a good tournament to end the year with. Yeah, good to see them all again. Hopefully I see them all this year in 2017. So
I sure hope so.
Cinder, you want to tell us about Seat Story Cup? I know there were some interesting things that happened there.
Many interesting things. And I know we do have a call-in segment later, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But Seat Story Cup 6, very cool. Once again, played in Germany in the Take TV studios. And this time around, as we mentioned last week, they brought up some new names, at least, to like this semi-invitational circuit that kind of goes on a lot in Europe. Which is kind of why I was really interested in Seat Story 6, because they were interested in investing in these lesser known players like Kvek and Torok and guys like that, and Hafu was even in the bracket, so that was really great to see. So we had quarterfinal results. Orange beats Savitz 4-3. Torok beats Camlin 4-3. Ecop beats Amaz 4-2, and Show beats Super JJ 4-3. Savitz was the only undefeated player in the group stages. He went 4-0 in match play, so he had a great tournament. And Super JJ probably had the most difficult group stages. He was in group with Zixo, Kevek, and RDU in the first group, and then Savitz, Zalay, and Ostkaka in the second. Very tough groups.
Wow, that's a good group.
And I do want to throw one more piece at Amaz here. We haven't seen Amaz really in competitive play for a long time because he spent so much of his time focused on Team Archon and trying to get his various projects off the ground. Now that he's playing for NRG as a player, I was curious to see if he still had the chops to play. Let me tell you, he had an amazing run. He had a great game and match record through this tournament. Even though Ecop managed to knock him out in the quarterfinals, his group stage play was fantastic, and I'm honestly glad to see him back in top or near top form. It was really great. In the semifinal rounds, we had Orange beating Torque 4-1 in a very dominating match, and Show beats Ekop 4-3, which gave us a final, an all-Swedish final, Orange versus Show. Orange defeating Show 4-2, so Orange showing that he's still very, very relevant in the European scene. So I would not be surprised in the least if we saw him and his teammates at Alliance making big splashes in 2017. And if you missed any of Seat Story Cup, you missed Pavel having a pillow fight with RDU. Last time it was Ostkaka kissing Reynad. This time you missed the Russian phenom having a pillow fight. So watch next time.
You also missed Eloise. Okay, well, you missed the whole Secret Santa. But Eloise...
Oh, yes.
Eloise was Savitz's... No, Savitz was Eloise's Secret Santa. And Eloise was like a huge Savitz fangirl. So he got her one of his liquid jerseys with his name on the back. And when she opened it, she just screamed and ran up and like jumped on him. And it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. It was, oh my God. It was a 4-day tournament of magic. I love Seat Story Cup. It's my favorite tournament of the whole year. And it is just, it's getting better every time. I love it so much.
My favorite gift exchange was admirable. He opened up his little baggie and he pulled out a razor, some shaving cream, and a brush for his balding head. And he just ran around the venue yelling, "Who did this?"
Yep, it was Lothar.
Yep.
It was so funny.
See, I think what makes this cup so good is it humanizes all these professional
Yeah.
players.
Mhm.
Like,
That's a
it's
huge thing.
Yeah, it's neat to see.
They can just
Yeah,
have
I mean,
fun.
we tend to focus on tournaments that have open participation, and we kind of shy away from reporting on invitationals unless there's something significant about them. And Seed Story Cup is invitational, but for all the reasons that we just said, it is still a great tournament. So we definitely like talking about this one when it happens.
Yeah. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. You want to talk about anything upcoming?
I checked the calendar, and unless something flies under the radar, I think I'm free and clear this weekend for once. I mean, it is Christmas weekend. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's playing
they don't
tournaments,
schedule
so
anything.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they try not to for New Year's now.
They make the
Nothing for
poor NBA players play on Christmas, though. Oof, what a drag.
My friend used to always go watch the Lakers on Christmas Day. He used to perform for it too. So, but yeah. So okay, those of you that have joined us live, please go leave us a review because we need some reviews. I'd love to talk about a review. Last episode I demanded everyone to go stop. No one did. So
Mm-mm-mm.
Tisk tisk.
I'm reverting to begging, please.
No, we are a proud podcast. We do not beg.
Well,
we-
we're gonna do this call-in thing, and you can review that specifically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or yeah, we definitely want to hear your feedback too. So that's very important to us. You can leave reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, and also on Google Music Play. I haven't checked that out, or really, maybe I should check out the reviews there. Maybe I could pull a couple from there. We'll see. Maybe I'll check it out while we're going over this. But yeah, let me go over the instructions here. So we're about to jump into the explanations, and as we mentioned in the last episode, we're going to have like our very first call-in segment. So if you'd like to call in and join us, talk to us directly, this is another way for us to reach out to you and make it more accessible to you, the individual. But join our Discord. I linked our Discord on our live chat. Also in Discord, yeah, so I'll explain it here. So basically, the rule. I have a couple of rules here. So if we take your call, turn down your Twitch audio so that if you are watching, we don't hear that because it'll automatically play your audio. And wait for one of us or the hosts to call you by name. We'll say it in chat, and then we'll change your role and we'll bump you in, or you'll be able to join us. So try to keep questions relevant to Hearthstone, the main topic of what our podcast is about. No cursing, no abusive language. We don't have a Twitch filter for your audio, so no auto Twitch.
No
mods.
auto mod, yeah.
And if your audio is bad, we may just happen to bump your call. So unfortunate for you, but
Yeah. Oh, and I do want to mention, if you do want to join in, the chat along in the Hearthstone Hangout channel on Discord, and if you're ready to call in, there is a voice lobby called Screening Lobby. So just join that voice channel, and at some point, Kenny will notify you in chat that you're about to be able to join the call, and when you can, join the call. It's in the live call-in voice channel. So once again, Kenny will let you know when you have permission to join us in the call.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and I'm going to have Cora go over the explanations topic, and then I'll get to doing this on our end. So Cora, take it away.
Absolutely. All right, so this is one of the explanations that I do feel very qualified to talk about because I have been playing a heck of a lot of Hearthstone the last month. So, the first few weeks of Mean Streets Complete, the various meta reporting websites have begun to roll out their tier lists. So we usually talk about the Tempo Storm meta snapshot, And there's some agreement and disagreement on which decks are in the top tier. All the sites offer insight into the constantly evolving meta, and each has their own methodology. So today, we are going to look at the top 3 meta reports, which is the Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper, which we spoke about already, the Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot, which just came out recently for the second week of Gadgets On, and Metastat's Meta Snapshot. So Metastat is pure data. There is no analysis. Vicious Syndicate is data with some analysis, and then Tempo Storm is pure analysis of data. So, looking at the top meta decks right now, we've got undisputed Aggro Shaman, Pirate Warrior, Miracle Rogue, Reno Lock, and Mid-Range Shaman. And if we just take a look at Vicious Syndicate, Tempo Storm, and Metastats, they all agree that Aggro Shaman is on the top. Absolutely on the top. Pirate Warrior looks like it is coming in second, although Tempo Storm does not agree on the Pirate Warrior front. Their top 3 is actually Aggro Shaman, Miracle Rogue, and Reno Lock. While Vicious Syndicate is Aggro Shaman, Pirate Warrior, and Miracle Rogue, and then Metastats with Aggro Shaman, Pirate Warrior, and Mid-Range Shaman. So Metastat's the only one going with the Mid-Range Shaman, and Tempo Storm the only one going with Reno Lock, which is a little bit surprising considering just how much Reno Lock we have seen on ladder, and just how well it's been performing for many professional players in competitive play, as well as on that ladder climb. So we can go ahead and break it down just a little bit further. Cinder, why don't you tell us a little bit about Aggro Shaman?
I will. And I'll also say that I happen to agree with Tempo Storm's analysis here. I do think Reno Lock and Miracle Rogue are in the top tier, and I don't think Pirate Warrior is, because Aggro Shaman, which is what I'm going to talk about, just flat out beats it. Aggro Shaman and Pirate Warrior play very similarly, and they have, well, they play differently towards the end game, but they have very similar matchups all across the meta. And pretty much everything that Aggro Shaman is good against, Pirate Warrior is also good against, and vice versa with bad matchups. But Aggro Shaman just straight up beats Pirate Warrior for a number of reasons. So why is Aggro Shaman good? It has an explosive opening with your Pirate package plus Flame Tongue Totem is an amazing damage burst on turn 2. You have a number of weapons plus token generation that will allow you to keep the board clear and keep your aggression going. And if you lose board, you have burst damage from Lava Shock and Jade Lightning if you're running the Jade package that will finish the game without having to interact with the board at all. So Aggro Shaman has a variety of ways to assemble lethal, and they can stall the board a little bit as well with some of the board clears and with Feral Spirits. So it has a lot of tools not only to start aggressive, but keep the counter aggression away in order to put it away. It is weak, however, to big burst healing, strong AoEs. This is why Reno Lock tends to beat Aggro Shaman pretty badly in matchups. As soon as you get your board cleared and they hit like a Bran heal, like a Bran Earthring Farseer, yeah, you're starting to get out of range, and if they Reno, you're just dead. And there's just nothing you can do about it. But Aggro Shaman is the #1 deck on all 3 meta snapshots. So if you're looking for a deck to play that just is consistent across the board, play Aggro Shaman. It's good, and there are a number of ways to play it. What about the mid-range Shaman, Cora? Why do you think Metastats has mid-range Shaman on here?
So I don't agree with Metastats. I don't think that mid-range Shaman is the most prevalent right now, but it definitely is still very strong. So like Aggro Shaman, it has, Tunnel Trog, Totem Golem in the early game, as well as Feral Spirits. It's not running the Pirate package, but it's very strong because it's able to run that strong early game along with mid-game removal and healing with a little bit of burst here and there. So they've got Lightning Bolt, they've got Spirit Claws, they've got weapons, and the ability to remove the Pirate package in the early game while still contest in the mid-game as well. So against an Aggro Shaman, mid-range Shaman will just blow them out of the water if they get an equal start, and then their mid to late game is just, that much better. They have Mana Tide Totem for staying power. They have Jinyu Water Speaker now for that +6 health really easily. Works with the Tunnel Trog on Overload. It's fantastic in the mid game. And then, of course, Thunderbluff Valiant with Totems is still just as good as ever. The mid-range Shamans can run Alakir or Ragnaros for some burst in the late game. It's very strong. It's very good against Aggro Shaman and also very good against Pirate Warrior. A little bit weak against Rogue. Rogue is just very strong right now, and Sap is an absolute killer for shamans because of Flame Wraith Faceless, and even Feral Spirit, Totem's Totem Golem, Backstab, SI7 Agent. Miracle Rogue just has a lot of early removal and a lot of burst very quickly. So for the Miracle Rogue, the mid-range Shaman isn't going to be quite as good. But it is also decent against Reno Lock. So the mid-range Shaman has a lot of good matchups. It doesn't have a lot of explosive matchups, but it has a lot of, 55, 45, 60, 40 matchups, which makes it a really good contender for ladder right now. So even though it was the strongest deck for a very long time and it may not be what everybody wants to play, it is fresh enough now with the addition of Jinyu Water Speaker, or there are some Jade mid-range variants that run like Jade Chieftain, some Jade Spirit, Bran, that it feels different enough that it is fun to play against. So mid-range Shaman, definitely a strong option. Do I think it's the best? No. I tend to agree more with Tempo Storm like you do, Cinder, but it's definitely in top 5.
I feel like Reno Lock is a definite part of it, but it's hard to say or talk against what a Vicious Syndicate puts up as far as the actual numbers. So I feel like it's a good meta. I mean, there's lots of different things and choices you could play, and that's probably why me and Cinder, I don't know about Shikor. Well, yeah, you played a bunch of different decks because you're like, well, what should I try? What can I... So this is part of why we wanted to talk about this and kind of open it up to some of our callers too. So do we want to cover this a little bit more? As far as basically we're going to have talk about what is good, what is bad, what is it weak against, what is, how would you kind of talk about this? I have a couple good questions in the chat already, so if you guys want to finish up and we'll start getting some people in here.
Yeah, let's do that. So we mentioned Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior is, of course, the other aggro counterpart to aggro Shaman. And I was mentioning it finishes a little bit differently than aggro Shaman. It tends to just get a high amount of burst damage from hand through weapons and through things like Heroic Strike and Mortal Strike. And so what it's trying to do is just rush you down. You will a lot of times see them ignore the board if there's not a lot of board pressure, or just use the weapons to trade and go aggressive with the minions. So Pirate Warrior is very, very good at just getting you down dead by like turn 5 or 6 before you can even develop your game plan. But it is super weak against especially stuff like freeze effects, so Reno Mage ends up being a hard counter to Pirate Warrior. Lots of big taunts, which is where Reno Lock tends to counter the Pirate Warrior game plan, since it doesn't run anything but execute if that for hard removal. So it's the pure aggro deck. Aggro Shaman has some flexibility. Pirate Warrior tends to be all in the early game, and you either win or you die by like turn 6, 7, 8 at the most. And Reno Lock is one of the hard counters for these aggro decks. Cora, why is Reno Lock good right now?
Reno Lock is fantastic right now if you tech it against aggro. Pretty much the only control deck you're going to find is Reno Warlock or Reno Priest or Reno Mage. But if you can tech Reno Warlock with a little bit of more early game, so some more early game taunts, a little bit of early game removal, and then if you can consistently get Reno Jackson, you hard mulligan for him, if you can have him turn 6, 7, 8, then you can remove the early game. You'll get low on health, but you can usually stabilize to where you're not dead until around turn 8 or 9. And then if you can Reno, they just don't have the damage in the deck to be able to beat you. So if you're Reno Warlock playing against an aggro deck, you usually know if you win by like turn 7. Actually, you know what? If you don't have the early game, you know if you lose by like turn 3 sometimes. So, yeah, but Reno Lock has an incredible amount of consistency for a deck with 30 unique cards, and one of those cards being the absolute most important card in the deck. So it's kind of shocking that it is as consistent as it is, but it is, I would say, probably the best deck in the game right now, just because Kazakus brought so much strength, and Reno Jackson is just the absolute hard counter to aggro.
Yep.
And I feel like it's the draw engine of the hero power too. That just helps you.
Yeah, that's what makes it really
get the amount of answers in your hand. So yeah, you were gonna say, Cinder. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the last thing on the list is Miracle Rogue. And Miracle Rogue it's a bit of a chameleon. Sometimes it plays aggro, and you're just trying to get minions on the board and go. And sometimes it's playing a little bit mid-range, trying to get your big bodies on the board in turn 4, 5, 6. And sometimes it's control, trying to beat back the aggression of the opponent and put together a big combo if you're playing like with Leroy Jenkins and Cold Blood. So there's a number of different ways you can play Miracle Rogue, but the reason it's so good is because of the Gadget Zan Auctioneer. This is what makes Miracle Rogue Miracle Rogue. You got a bunch of cheap spells, you put down your Gadget Zan Auctioneer, and you draw through your entire deck to try and assemble a win condition. But that usually requires you to play some early minion pressure, so you're still looking for your big bodies. You're looking for your Tomb Pillager, you're looking for your Azure Drake. If you're playing the Pirate package, you're going to hard mulligan for that to get that on the board as quickly as possible. And then once you add a little bit of pressure and get a good Gadget Zan turn in, you win. But it's because it takes some time to get a win condition going, it can be very, very weak against pure aggression models like the Pirate Warrior. So if you're facing against something that's just absolute all-in aggression and you're missing a draw, you draw a card a turn too late, you're probably going to lose to that aggression because Rogue does not have any way to heal, and it usually doesn't run any taunts unless you're doing like a weird Jade package with Defender of Argus. But it's a good deck if you can think quickly and you have a good memory and you know all the cards in your deck. You can get very creative and just cycle through your deck and know which cards you need to assemble a winning turn. So it fits in nicely in between the aggression and the pure control of the rest of the meta. So that's the top tier decks. Kenny, let's give permission to somebody to join the live call-in channel now.
All right. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and call him out live here.
Well, there is a delay on the Twitch. So
there is a delay, but I'm also going through the members and the roles here too. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm going to call on Sir Slips. I was going to go with someone else, but he'll be back in a little bit. Let me pull up and add role here. So Sir Slips, he wanted to talk a little bit about a tournament, what we foresee seeing in the tournament scene, what decks and stuff. So Sir Slips.
Oh, hey everybody.
Hey, Sir
Hello.
Slips. Hey.
Hi.
Say it works. We did it.
Thank God.
Simple enough. We actually did it.
Okay. So Slips, ask your question, man.
All right. So I don't know if you guys have been. I don't know if you guys mentioned this directly this episode, but I wanted to talk a little bit about decks in tournament play as opposed to ladder because a lot of people are saying, all you're going to see now is like Pyro Warrior or Rogue or Jade Druid or something like that. But I want to know if you guys think there's any decks or cards or anything specific that you think will show up once we go to Conquest, because then you can ban a deck that counters it or something like that specifically. Because I don't have a specific example off the top of my head, but I've had people tell me, like, oh man, doppelgangster decks were going to be the best thing ever. They were going to be like Patron again.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, there's no way, but you never know. So I'm thinking, is there anything you think specifically, once it's banned, will let other stuff come up, or the other way around, where it'd be like, this deck will be better if this is something else isn't here, like aggro or Reno Block?
Well,
I think anything Paladin is sick.
Yeah.
With Finja?
Yeah, that's probably one that would stand out to me too, yeah.
We recently saw in the All-Stars 2016, a bunch of people brought the Aviana combo druid. Once you're able to ban out one or two or one aggressive deck and maybe soft counter the other, it gives you room to play some of these slower control-y decks for sure.
Yeah, because that would be really bad on ladder especially against like pirates, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the ban gives you a lot of flexibility in tournament format that you just don't have on ladder. So tournament metas are very different from ladder metas. So I'm really actually glad that you asked this question. We don't get to talk about this a lot because most of our experience is in ladder. But yeah, I think Finja Anyfin Paladin is actually really stupidly strong. I'm
intrigued to see that.
I've only played. No, you're great. I've only played against a couple of them on ladder. But every time they have Finja, and then they have all their Murlocs, and then I'm just crying because, like, What are you supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
they always have, they've got Doomsayer on 2, they have Pyro Equality, they have Forbidden Healing, so it seems like they've got the tools to beat some form of maybe a bit of a slower aggro deck. Maybe aggro Shaman because Aldor counters Flame Wreath Faceless. It might be a little bit rough against Pirates, Pirate Warrior, but it just seems like it could be really strong in a tournament format. And Freeze Mage. I think Freeze Mage is
Freeze Mage.
really strong.
Yeah, Freeze Mage looks a lot better in tournament right now. With mid-range Shaman kind of somewhat out of the picture, more people favoring aggro Shaman even still in tournaments. Freeze Mage has an easier time beating aggro Shaman than it does mid-range Shaman, because mid-range Shaman can just refill the board at will, and aggro Shaman doesn't have that ability. And it does. Freeze Mage can hard counter stuff like Pirate Warrior and other really aggressive decks that aren't as flexible as mid-range Shaman was. So yeah, I think Freeze Mage is going to stick around for sure. Whether or not
I would say Freeze is. I was gonna say I think Freeze is the deck that, as much as people like myself really don't like it, it will pretty much be like the cockroach of Hearthstone. Where
it can't die.
Be there. Someone's gonna be playing it, no matter how good or bad the meta is for it.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right. All right, cool, Slips. Thanks for chatting in with us. I'm gonna bump you out of the channel and make room for somebody else.
Thank you, Slips.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Have a good rest of the show, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Kenny, who's next?
So we're gonna pull in Phenom. This Phenom, he's been a guest on our show here. I don't know. I'll add him and see if he can do this, and I'll mention it in the chat here. Phenom, come on down. So yeah, I thought maybe he could talk a little bit, maybe his ladder experience, maybe a little bit about the Reaper report, because he does help work on it, and so hopefully he can figure out just to join us.
Yeah, gotta pay attention when you give you permission to come into the show. There he is. Hey, Phenom.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, hear me? Welcome. Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to hear from you again, man.
Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah.
How you been?
Good. Been climbing up High Legend lately, so yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And if you guys don't know, Phenom actually works on the Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report. So he is an incredible source of information. So we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. So you want to talk about ladder play or the Reaper report, or even what's the your favorite card in your Reno lock, shall we say?
Oh yeah. So I'm known to rage a lot and be very salty, but
it gets talk
when
going.
I started playing, but when I started playing Reno Lock, just like very early in the expansion, I put 30 rat, and I had no idea how good it was gonna be. When I rated the card, I don't remember what I rated, but it wasn't high. But when I played it, I realized there's so many cool situations you can get the value out of it from.
Yeah.
So usually not gonna play it on curve unless it's against unless you're really desperate, or if you're like on the coin and you have Doomsayer to back it up the next turn, then you might that's a doable play. But usually it's to combo with something else. Like if you're gonna Shadow Flame anyway, then might as well rat something else out and kill it off as well. Or if they play a Doomsayer, then you rat something out and kill one of their own as well. So a lot of cool plays, and it's very, very good in breaking up combos. So you pull out a Leroy, you pull out a Faceless, and it's like even if you don't kill it all, well, they lost their combo. So
True.
you disrupt their game plan.
Yeah, I also kind of underrated Dirty Rat, and after seeing it in tournament play, it kind of clicked some of the really cool combinations. I think my favorite Dirty Rat combo that I can pull off, if I can pull it off, is you Bran, then Dirty Rat on a 3 minion board to get it up to 5 minions, and then Mind Control Tech to steal 2 of them. And it's, what is that, like 8 or 9 mana? And it's just game over against a lot of decks that are trying to go aggressive. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's actually harder to pull off than other situations, because if have to be not dying right away.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mhm.
Facing that kind of board. Or actually the funniest use I have had was against a control shaman, an assault shaman, and we played 2 games in a row, and I ratted out his assault both times.
Oh,
So-
man. There goes your win condition.
That's
Because like, it's so
gross.
easy to tell, right? He plays his death rattle, Karen, Sylvana's like, well, the only thing you have left back there's got to be in the south, right? Well,
Right.
just rat it out.
Oh man.
But it's up being an important card to know how to read your opponent's hand, you know, because if you can
Yeah.
do that, you can predict what you're gonna rat out, right,
Mhm.
Cora?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Dirty Rat Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame combo is really underrated. And it can be an absolute surprise that just destroys you. So you do have to be careful against some aggro decks playing it in the early game. If you're playing against like Pirate Dragon Warrior, for instance, and it brings out their Draconid Crusher, well, it backfires if you don't have some follow-up. But a lot of the time, it's strong against aggro in the early game, strong against control and combo decks in the late game. It's just a really versatile card.
What was it?
So my favorite play, since we're talking about favorite combos here, I played a mirror, and that's they actually threw down a Doomsayer, and there was like no board. He cleared my board and threw down a Doomsayer, so I was like, okay. So I threw down Bran and then Dirty Rat, and by the time it got back to his turn again, both the Doomsayer and his 2 minions I pulled because of Bran. Everything just kind of just left, and I think I pulled his Leroy and some other like
Ooh.
main card for his deck. So
That's
it
a
was
good
it
feeling.
was fun. So anything you want to mention about the Reaper report before we try and pull someone else out, or like how have you guys been doing that? Like, are you guys under a lot of pressure to get this out?
We took a bit of a break towards the end of like a week before the expansion and a week or 2 afterwards, just to like, because before expansion the meta was really stale and there was really not much to talk about anymore, and we all just needed a break anyway. So we took a break, a few weeks, and then we had to wait like a couple weeks after expansion for things to settle down before we could even have stats or anything to talk about. So last Thursday was our first issue in the expansion, and it was I think on that day our traffic went up. We broke our previous single day traffic record by like 75%.
Wow, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, so like we came back in a big way, and there was a lot of anticipation for it. So it was like a win-win situation. Not only did we get the break that we needed, we also built up a lot of anticipation. And so yeah, it was a huge success, and we're just looking forward to every week, and this Thursday a new issue will come out.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
I think a lot of people are going to it and using it. I hope a lot of more people are going into or like giving data for it too, because I know I have my Earthstones tracker where it gives you the option to do that too, with the deck trackers and Tracobot and stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty cool thing that we can kind of give to help you guys to support you with stuff that you do for us as a community. It's a circle of life, shall I put it? So thank you so much for the work you do on it.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to mention this one
Sure.
very good use I got out of it was just a couple of days ago. I was looking at the win rates and saw that that obviously Miracle Rogue and Aggro Shaman were dominating ladder, and so I looked at win rate chart, and the only deck that is favorable against both of them is Reno Mage.
Yep.
And so I played it, and I got the wins that I needed to climb into top 10.
Excellent.
Yeah, I
It's great
saw
use.
that on Twitter. Congrats, man.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the report there at work. So
Yep.
I think we have some pretty smart people there. So congratulations. That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on the show. I'm gonna go ahead and pull someone else on here. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Phenom.
Goodbye.
All right. So the next one that we're gonna go ahead and pull in, this is Big Crazy Gamer. He's one of our patrons here. So join us. Come join us, Big.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, Big Crazy Gamer is one of my brother's best friends. He's one of my good friends. He's at my house quite a bit, but he loves us. He's always asking me about Coin Concede and talking to me about when he sees you post pictures of your son, Kenny. He's like, "Did you see Kenny's new picture of his son?" And I'm like, "It's really cute." So, yeah, he's been a huge supporter of Coin Concede. So, I know he's probably really excited about being on the show.
Yeah, so Big Crazy Gamer, do we have you on the line?
Yeah, welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hello. So
Hi,
good
how
to
we
have
doing?
you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So I feel like I owe you an apology of a sort. So, yeah, I think all of us
Why is
have
that?
we all have Big Crazy Gamer on our friends list, and he has a tendency to hit me in BattleNet when I'm on my phone playing, and it's really hard for me to chat. So I think I accidentally snubbed you a bunch of times. That would message me.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a big fan of spectating games.
Yeah, he
yeah,
watches me all the time.
You know what? Instead of just saying hi, just say, "Hey, spectate," and I'll put you on.
Yeah, literally,
do it
I
next
just
time.
go, I say, invite, exclamation point. That's all I say to him. He just like,
Just spec.
Spec
Yeah, there you
question mark? Works every time.
all right, so yeah, you had a good question about a deck that we weren't talking about here. So you want to talk about your Jade Druid question? You're talking about the Jade Idol.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, my connection. That I was talking with a former co-host, Kevin Cookies, about the Jade Idol. His philosophy on it was he would shuffle it and play it like summon a golem later in the game, whereas I think it's better to shuffle it earlier in the game. What do you suggest? Should I should I shuffle it right away? Should I shuffle it towards the end, or should I always just go for the golem? Sort of.
So the Jade Druid is a fairly slow archetype compared to the rest of the meta right now. And in order to combat these really aggressive boards like the pirate boards from Warrior and Shaman, you may find it desirable to go ahead and make a golem turn 1 or 2 just to get the token on board and get a trade, because that'll slow down some of their damage. Because you're not going to win by throwing a bunch of 1, 2, and 3 golems in your deck against a board full of pirates. So if you're committed to Jade Druid, which is a tough deck to play in the meta right now, fight for the early board. You want to slow down their openings as much as possible, and that means probably using an idol on turn 1 to make a golem. Cora, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Cinder. It's very matchup dependent. Against Reno Warlock, you can for sure get away with shuffling, just because large minions, eventually the Reno Warlock can't deal with them, so the faster you can ramp, the better you're going to be looking. But against aggro, you need something to contest the 1/1 pirates, and ideally you use Living Roots on turn 1 for 2 1/1 saplings, and then that can contest. But if you don't have Living Roots and you have Jade Idol, well, that's a 1/1, and then maybe you have Jade Blossom, and then you have a 2/2 as well. So the faster you can get those ramped against aggro, the better your chances of survival into the late game. So I would say, rule of thumb, against aggro, you want to use the first one for a golem. And then against control, you have a little more liberty to save it until the later game.
Agreed.
Yeah, generally you don't
Okay.
want to draw it early in the game, period, unless it's aggro. So that's how I feel. But I don't play too much of it lately. I've been wrecking it with my rogue.
Yeah, it's a fun deck. It's just really hard to play right now. It's very slow, which I think everybody thought it would be really overpowered going into this meta, and everybody just sort of ignored the fact that we got a 1-mana 3/2 pirate that's really, really good, and a 1/1 pirate that you get for free that's just, it's too fast for the Jade Druid to keep up with a lot of the time. So it can do it, but you gotta be a little crafty, and Jade Idols for 1/1s on turn 1 is something you have to do, unfortunately.
Cool.
Oh,
Any other
thank you.
questions you thought about? Since I know you left and came back in chat. I don't know if you had any other ones.
Well, it seems to me that everyone's playing Patch as the pirate. It's just how good can a 1/1 charge be on turn? I don't understand how that can be very good where everyone has to play it.
Well, we talked about it on the show. Actually, I would say Appa talked about it on the show.
See that? Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. But he said it best. I mean, it's almost guaranteed 2 damage, right?
Mhm.
Because if you get to pull him out on turn 1, he's going in for 1, and he's probably going in for another point on turn 2 before he can do anything. So for 0 mana, you get 2 damage. That alone is a bargain. Plus, you have the potential for ease of comboing stuff like this. The 3 mana 3/4 for warrior that buffs your weapon. Since you're not getting 1 but 2 pirates on the board early, less chance of your opponent removing it, and then you get the pirate proc on that. And then in like aggro shaman, like we talked about earlier in the show, if you get 2 pirates out turn 1 and you have a flame tongue turn 2, that's like 8 uncontested damage on turn 2. He can be really, really amazing if you have the right cards in your hand.
Yeah,
that too. You can throw a pirate out while you have a totem out,
Mhm.
and you have a charged minion that hits 3 to taunt or face or wherever, so it's pretty good play.
And maybe even, sorry, Kenny, maybe even more importantly, it thins your deck to 29 cards. Or, well, I guess, essentially you're playing with a 29 card deck because Patches comes out for free, which allows you to get through to your more important cards faster, which is really important.
I think Phenom actually said it best. He was mentioning in a chat that I was with him it wasn't Phenom, it was Tell on his podcast. He was saying he's so surprised that everyone talks about it thinning the deck, and it's such a minimal part of the deck. It's not that big of a deal, other than it's just another presence. I feel like I kind of agree with him that the percent of chance when you first play it in the game, it's kind of minimal, especially if you're playing an aggressive deck. But I guess it's also important that you're pulling another card out to get to be a presence, because you're not going to make it to late game. So that's another point to look at it, I feel. So, yeah. Well, thanks for trying out our test show here and joining us. It's good to actually hear you. Hopefully you can join us some more in future shows or future call-ins. We'll see if this is good. All right, so
I'd just like to leave you guys with a coin Mayor Noggenfogger opponent can see.
Oh God, if only it works that way.
Sure.
It says all effects are random, so let's hope.
Yep.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much. That's cool that he came on here. So, since he was on here, I do want to talk. He was one of our patrons.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the first people we actually I sent let's see, did you already move his? Oh, he's not even in there. Yeah, I'm gonna pull in Timmy next. So Timmy, if you're listening, so that you can mention in chat. Since he was one of our patrons, he was one of the first giveaways that won something from our show over a year ago. So he got some like stickers. I think he got a free pack. We'll try and get some more stuff in there if we can from if we can make it to BlizzCon this year. Maybe we'll have some other things to mention. All right, so I gave Tim. Here we go.
What's up?
I believe we have him on the line.
Hello.
Hey, long time no talk.
Hey.
So I threw him here in the end here because he's kind of like he wanted to talk about answering questions with what he's seen on ladder and high level play. Maybe even answer some of the questions that were mentioned here in the Discord and Twitch chat. So, Tim, anything that came to mind when you were kind of keeping notes on everything?
Just more like commentary, I guess, on ladder. Just how interesting it is at the moment, and kind of just my feeling towards this expansion. It's been like one of my favorite expansions pretty much ever in Hearthstone, because I feel like there's so much to experiment with, and it doesn't feel boring playing the same rogue deck or playing the same druid deck, just because you can come across so much variety in these games. I know personally for myself, a couple days ago I was playing Rogue and Kenny was watching me play, and just the games I would have, with counterfeit coins or with Swashbuckler and all these different cards that came from Karazhan, came from previous expansions that all of a sudden have become like 4-star, 5-star cards. It's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, it works out
I don't-
well. I consider you the legend or the rogue expert, so I was like,
Well, yeah.
I'll go learn something from Tim here. I'll spectate him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling to see Rogue at top for once. I mean, I know beta, it was like one of the best decks, but it's been so like put down upon and so at the bottom for so long. It's nice to play a deck that you really enjoy playing.
Yeah, but the Auctioneer was also, I think, 4 mana during the beta, so
It's,
And the weapon too was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
it's been a while since Blade Flurry cost 2 mana and hit face, and you could Leroy Shadowstep, Leroy, Cold Blood. Prep Cold Blood.
pour one out for the Blade Flurry.
Pour one out for one's homies.
No, I happen to agree with Timma here. Appa and I talk about this a lot. That the meta seems healthy, which is unusual in the history of Hearthstone. There's always been like a top deck that's just oppressive. Mid-range Shaman was back there. Remember when Patron Warrior was the big thing, and it was just unbeatable if you knew how to play it. So looking at a meta report and seeing that the top 3 decks have 2 greens and a red as far as their matchup matrix goes, that's a good thing. I'm really glad to see that the meta is where it is. And I thought this was going to be like a blowout, like crazy overpowered deck thing with Mean Streets. Turns out like they did a really good job of balancing out all these different mechanics. And it has been a heck of a lot of fun with all these new decks.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, it's still pretty early in the expansion too. So like, we're gonna see some more refined control decks. I think Control Warrior really will have like a comeback at some point once people really iron out those lists. I'm looking at Fibonacci for that one, but I don't know. I really haven't got a chance to talk to. I have quite a few like I guess pros on my friends list, but they've all been busy with these early tournaments, as you can expect them to be. But I want to try to get a chance to talk to all of them and see like what their thoughts are, what they're trying to experiment with, and what new archetypes are evolving constantly. Because like there's aggro shaman right now. There's some jade shaman builds going out, and just some flat out vanilla shaman builds. And I think it's interesting to see that there's so many different viable versions of these decks, which in previous expansions and with like 190 Karazhan, you only saw Dragon Warrior, you only saw certain types of rogue, you only saw aggro shaman, mid-range shaman, actually more mid-range shaman than aggro, but you didn't really see different builds, which was kind of upsetting.
That's kind of true. Yeah, you see different builds of rogue, different builds of shaman, it's a nice meta where it'll get you thinking a lot more too.
Yeah. Lord knows I've gone through several variations of Crusher Shaman since the expansion.
Oh, I actually did want to comment on the Jade Golem. I think Jade Golem, Jade Druid is probably one of the most interesting archetypes right now. In my personal experience, I think if you're going to play turn 1, always playing that Jade Golem turn 1 is probably the best instead of shuffling, because you're getting that ramp for future Druid or future Jade turns. So when you're playing that 4-drop and you get a 2/3 and a 2/2 or a 3/3, anything like that, you're just ramp. It's another version of ramp for Druid, and you never pass up on that opportunity. And a lot of matchups too. If you're not playing against control, you don't need a second. You don't need that shuffle to go into your deck. You're going to have enough Jade threat to overrun somebody for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of like 1 mana, play a 1/1 token, give all of your future Jade Golems +1/+1 and on.
Exactly.
On. Yeah, it's value ramp.
It's a good way to put it.
I'm excited to see so many different classes in Tier 1 as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, Dirty Rat plus Brawl is a thing.
I come up with a new secret paladin, but with warrior.
Cool.
I think it could be good, honestly. Like there's a lot more taunts now, and there's a lot more ways to delay the game, and maybe just play a straight up fatigue warrior every time instead of trying to go for some what's it called? I haven't seen it in so long. Elise. Like
Yeah.
nobody's playing Elise anymore.
I
No, yeah.
love Elise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play a control warrior without Elise just because it cuts down on the fun factor by like at least 70%. Plus, she's just so fantastic in control matchups. Like,
Yeah.
I just love her.
Yeah, I may just bring back my mad scientist's crazy alchemy lab, Prince Malchazar fatigue warrior, 35 card deck. What's up?
5 of those cards could be horrible, but who knows?
Yep.
Well,
I'm
somebody, do you,
surprised Hunter isn't as represented, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's still viable. I feel it's just it didn't get any support in the expansion, so I think people just aren't.
That's
playing it.
true.
Yeah.
I feel like people are using. I played against someone that was using the new rat card and playing like a almost with oh gosh, what's it called? The knife juggler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was kind of just pretty quick for me. I ended up losing to it. That's why I mentioned earlier in the show. I was like, the one time you see Hunter and you lose to it.
Yeah, the thing
But,
is, Maelstrom Portal just hard counters Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Demon
Maelstrom
Wrath
Portal.
too. Ravaging Ghoul.
Lucian
Yeah.
does two different things. Like Reno, Demon Wrath. Yeah, you said Demon. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
lot of hard counters right now, but it can do it if it's not contested. Holy crap! Yeah, it's gonna do
yeah.
a ton of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it with me on Rogue, so I was like, what? Wait,
Oh,
wait,
Phantom
hold up.
Knives.
My fan. No.
Fan, no.
It's on the back half of your drawing, but yeah. I was gonna mention something else here. So when you actually, I don't know if you have a chance to check out the Reaper Report or Tempo Storm or anything like that. Do you just go off of what you see when you ladder, or how do you talk to other Legend players?
For the most part, I pretty much go off. I mean, I start almost every expansion playing Rogue just because it's what I know and it's the most fun class for me. But once it gets kind of towards the end of the month and I'm trying to, really climb, like I got lucky. I was high rolling a lot of people with Rogue and getting big Van Cleefs against aggro, and which is just the best feeling in the world. But it's more of just seeing what I see on the ladder, tweaking the deck I'm playing to match it. I don't know. I just go based more off my intuition more than reports, but it's something I want to improve my game, especially for like tournaments. I plan on trying to get into a lot more tournaments, and I think it's very important to have that information about what's this deck's win rate against this, what do you tech in for this, blah blah blah. All that stuff is something I need to work on myself, and I do take a look at it, but the way to process it is so different than just taking a look at that information.
I had one more Rogue question for you. What version of Rogue are you liking the best right now?
I personally am liking the double questing adventure. I think
Okay.
it does pose a lot more threat than SI7 agents, and it runs conceals too. I was playing a version with like Violet Teacher and no conceals, and I was just losing to priests with a Shadow Word Death or warlocks with Siphon Soul. So I think double conceal is always the way to go right now. But it's rogue's a pretty volatile beast. It can change at any time.
Tell me about it.
Hey, Questing Rogue was messing me up as Reno Warlock. It
Yeah.
was just destroying me.
The best feeling with Rogue 2 is getting like a 22 Van Cleef and then stealthing it against a priest, and you
Yeah.
get this taste of tears. It's incredible.
It's so bad. And hard mulligan for Blast Crystal Potion against Rogue because you can't beat Van Cleef.
Right?
Oh man, it's rough.
I've had some pretty
Times.
brutal plays with questing. Like I'll have like a 10 questing adventure, and then like a Van Cleef at 22,
Ah.
16 or whatever it may be. But yeah, it can be pretty brutal, especially if there's like no taunts and stuff. I think the list you were running, you only had one sap, right?
Yep, one sap, one conceal. I'm playing on EU with a different list now. with 2 saps, 2 fans, and 1 swashbuckler. The swashbuckler is nice, but the variance you get with it is just not as good as the consistency. I don't know if 2 of sap or 2 of fan is really the right call. Maybe throw in. It's hard. Maybe another counterfeit coin just to really get things going sooner. But I don't know. Like I've just been trying to experiment with a lot of different decks.
My experience with I like Swashbuckler. It's I had one turn against a druid that was the 5 mana spell that has the 2/2s that come out, and then I also got a second spell from druid that ramps up empty mana crystals per every friendly minion.
Oh yeah, the Pilfered Power.
So I just ramped with him, and he just conceded straight up. But that was super fun. There's some fun trolled in games you can have with Swashbuckler, but I also against it seems like whenever I play against Warrior, I always get Varian Rin. It's like a dead card. It's like, oh man.
Or Shield Slam.
Kenny, if you remember watching too, oh yeah, Shield Slam is the worst. I always want to just concede when I get it.
Yeah.
If you remember, Kenny, I got a Innervate from a druid the one time we were playing. On like turn 4, I had like a 16/16 Van Cleef that I stealthed with an auctioneer or something like that because I drew all the preps. I had both coins in my hand or something like that, and just went completely off. And he's just like, well, I can't do anything. This is awful. My favorite is when people play Dirty Rat and I get an auctioneer out and they just concede.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, with an empty board and everything. Yeah. Nice value for it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We have a longer show here, but I hope you enjoyed coming on, and this was a good call by us.
Sure. I haven't talked to you guys in a long time. I really really coming on.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think you were our first guest.
Yeah, it was after my tournament, I think.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Man, lots happened since then.
Yeah, thanks for keeping in touch.
Yeah, for sure. If you ever need a guest or you ever want to talk about Hearthstone, I'm always available.
Sweet.
All right.
Sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Perfect. So I think that went pretty well. What do you guys think?
That was fun.
I'm giddy, man. That was really cool.
So cool.
We did it. The first Hearthstone live call-in show. We did it.
Has anybody ever done that before?
Not that I know of. Like,
there's been pure call-in shows for like Angry Chicken, I think, but
never just
picture hangout thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
So tell us what you think about it. Send it to coinconcede@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that pretty much does it. Corey, you want to go over our thanks, and we'll
For sure. All right, thanks always to Stefan L. for letting us use his cover of the Hearthstone theme song. You guys can check him out on his channel, which is linked in our show notes. You can catch our blog post at coinconcede.com along with our show notes. Follow us on Twitter @coinconcede, and like and share our Facebook page at facebook.com/coinconcede. We're also on Discord, discord.coinconcede.com, and that is how you get to actually be on our show now during our call-in segments. So make sure you hit up that Discord.
Cool. Since you're already speaking, do you have any shout-outs this week?
Shout outs to everybody who's been watching me stream. I am putting up some insane numbers, at least for me. My viewership has already gone noticeably upwards since I started streaming consistently, and it's really, really exciting. So thank you to everybody who is tuning in, every single day. I have regulars, and that's so weird. Like, people who are literally waiting for me to turn the stream on at noon every day. It's the best, weirdest feeling ever. But it's like I'm coming back and hanging out with friends. So it's really fun. So thank you guys all so much for the support.
Yeah, thanks for those that actually came. My shout-out's going to go to those that came into our Twitch chat here. We have Tugboat, Chalet, I guess you would say. Is that how you would pronounce her name, Cinder?
Who? What?
Jelly
And-
27 or 77.
Yeah, 77, yeah.
Jelly.
And
I'm
then,
not. I'm not watching the Twitch.
Oh, you're not
stream. I
even?
don't know. No.
and D-Man from our Discord is in there
Yeah.
too. He went to go check us out. So thanks for those that came to watch us live on Twitch as well, as those that called in. What about you, Cinder?
I need to. I guess I need
Oh,
to shout out
Jelly.
Kenny for sending me the mixer that allows us to do this. I spent quite a bit of time puzzling this out, and Kenny helped me test it out, and we did it though. And I'm
cool.
so jazzed about this that this actually worked.
It's really fun. That was
It's
awesome.
like our dream. It's like our dream come true.
A little bit, man. A little
Very
bit.
nice.
Yeah.
Making strides here. Making strides. All right. So gonna give a short shout out here to Appa, and since he's not here, you could go follow him at Cyclone Appa and on Twitch at an Alpha Appa. Cora, where can people go find you when you're streaming 5 days a week?
First of all, you can follow me on Twitter at songbird_HS. And please follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/SageCora. I'm streaming Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central until 3 p.m. Central Time. I've been going a little bit longer, depending on, if I have some really great games or if I don't have anything to do that day. But yeah, come and hang out. We've got a really nice little community growing. And, eventually I would like to get that sub button, so every viewer counts. So, yeah,
Awesome.
come hang out.
And Cinder, how about you?
Tweet at me at Cinder Ascendant and follow the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Cinder Ascendant. The resurrection is impending, y'all. About around the first of the year, I'm looking forward to starting to stream a little bit, a couple hours a week or so.
All right. I forgot to mention one more person here in Twitch. BU of M24.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for coming. I think he's
He's one of my
your...
Twitch viewers. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Sweet.
So yeah, and also I'm on Twitter at KCCO_gamer and Twitch at KCCO_gamer. I don't do too much on there. I was thinking about doing YouTube, but I just gotta actually record. Yeah, I don't know. And you can always add me on Battle.net. Just hit me up if you wanna DM me. You can. And yeah, thanks for this awesome show, guys. I'm super excited and stoked about this. All right, so last thing we want to say is keep calm and chive on. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
You have bested. I choose death.
You win this
I concede. You win this time. Well fought. I concede. You win this one, friend. The victory is yours.
I get.
Nailed it.
Whoa.